All right, here is our test review for Unit 2A that was over solving equations and inequalities. For questions 1 to 3, we are practicing writing an equation or an inequality, solving it, and then summarizing it as an answer in a sentence. So on this first one, Sarah scored these grades on the first 4 tests in her math class. After the semester exam, her class average is a 75. This is supposed to be Sarah. What did she score on the first semester? Oh, good grief. Miss Fadia's talks, take 2. What did she score on the semester exam? So remember that I want you to focus first on what is the problem asking you to find, and that is going to be your variable. So it's asking us to find her score on the semester exam. So this is my X. And then we're given information about the average of her scores. So remember, an average is when you add up all the grades you have and divide by the total number. So she has 4 grades that she knows already and 1 that hasn't happened yet that she's trying to calculate. So even though we don't know it, it still works as if we did know it. We're going to add it up with the other ones and divide by the total number of test scores. So we're going to take the ones we know, plus the one we don't know, divide by the total number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to equal the average. So she knows her average. She knew these other ones. She's like, hey, I wonder what I made on my semester exam. And this equation will help her figure that out. So we're going to start by multiplying both sides by 5. So multiplying by 5 cancels out this dividing by 5. And then over here, that's 25, carry my 2. That's 35 plus 2 is 375. I'm also going to add up all of these things. Actually, I'm going to pause my video so that I don't spend video time doing that. Give me just a second. Okay, I have 320. So I've got 320 plus the X equals 75. So now I just solve, 375. Now I subtract 320 and X equals 55. So she made a 55. Now I want you to pause your video and try 1B, and it's if the test counted twice. So her 5th test is her semester exam. That means X plus another X. And then now the average is 82. So you're going to set up the same equation. Goodness gracious, I cannot talk. You're going to set up the same equation. You're going to have X added in twice, but now you're going to have 6 test scores, and the average is going to equal 82. So you take a moment and try that yourself. Okay, here's my work. 320 is what we already knew that the other 4 tests were going to add up to. 320 plus X, or 2X, equals 82. Now that we have that 5th test counts 2 times, we really have 6 total test grades. So the average means dividing that by 6, and it will equal 82. So I multiply both sides by 6 to cancel out on the left. On the right, 82 times 6 is 492. So now I'm at 320 plus 2X equals 492. I subtract the 320. And I have 2X equals 172, divide by 2, and X equals 86. So she made an 86. In this next situation, Gabriel has $75 in his school lunch account. Every week he uses up 15 for lunches at school. If his parents don't put any more money, how many weeks can he buy lunch so his account has at least $10 left? So here's what it's asking us to find. How many weeks can he buy lunch? So that's going to be my variable X. So he's starting out with $75 and he's subtracting $15 every week. That means 15 times X. And this represents how much money is in his account at the end of a certain amount of weeks. So if it was 1 week, we'd subtract 15, 2 weeks, we'd subtract 30. So this represents how much money is in his account right now. We want that to be greater than or equal to $10, right? You want the money in your account to be bigger than what your minimum is at $10. So once we have this set up, we just start solving. We subtract 75. And I get negative 15x greater than or equal to negative 65. Divide by negative 15. Now remember, when the number you're dividing by is negative, you're going to flip your symbol. So this will give me x less than or equal to, and negative divided by negative is positive, and 65 divided by 15 is about 4.3. So we are going to round that to say 4 weeks. Once he goes past 4.3, so once he gets to 5 weeks, his account will be less than 10. So we're going to say at 4 weeks, it'll still be bigger than 10. Okay, I want you to pause the video and try number 3. It works similarly. Okay, here's my work for number 6. She pays a $50 yearly fee, so once a year she pays that, plus $65 per massage, where X represents the number of massages. Now this is going to be the total amount that she pays, and we want it to be less than or equal to the amount of her gift certificate, $525, or what she saved, sorry, not her gift certificate. So I start solving by subtracting 50. I get 65x less than or equal to 475. Divide by 65. You can see my math over here. I get approximately 7.3. So the number of massages has to be less than or equal to 7.3. Now she can't get 0.3 of a massage, so we're going to round this to 7. She can get 7 massages. And I forgot to write this one as a sentence, but it should have been like, it will be 4 weeks. And how many weeks? He can buy lunch for 4 weeks and still have at least $10 left. Okay, number 4 and 5 are solving equations. So on number 4, I start with the distributive property. Remember to distribute the 2 to both terms inside the parentheses. So to the 7 and to the 5. Now I combine like terms. You always want to combine like terms before you start adding and subtracting to both sides of the equation. It helps lessen the confusion. So I only have my variables only on the left-hand side, so I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to take this regular number, this constant, and move it to the right. And now divide by 17, and x equals 2. On number 5, there's some differences. One is that there's 2 distributive properties, and another is that there's variables on both sides. So we're going to have to take care of both of those things. On the left, I'm going to distribute this 4 to both terms. That gives me 12m minus 28. On the right, you're distributing a negative 6. So bring the negative with you when you multiply by these terms. So that first number 62 is still there. And then negative 6 times positive 2 is negative 12m. And negative 6 times negative 5 is positive 30. Now before you start moving stuff around, see what you can combine first. On the left, there's no other math you can do. But on the right, I can combine the 62 and the 30. So that is 92. Now I start moving stuff around. I'm going to take this negative 12m and add it to both sides. Okay, so I've canceled that out. I've moved the variables to the left, which means this number on the left is constant. I need to move to the right. So I'm going to do the opposite of that, which is plus 28. So those cancel. Now I have 12 plus 12, which is 24m. And then here I have 2 plus 8, which is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 2 is 12. And now I'm going to divide by 24. And just do a little division over here. I know that 25 goes into 100 4 times, but this is a little bit bigger than 100, so I'm going to guess maybe it goes in 5 times. So let me try that out. Oh, and it goes in perfectly. So m equals 5.
I'm glad we did not drive over there.
Okay, on the back of the sheet, we are solving 2 inequalities, and we follow the same rules as solving inequations. So I'm going to combine like terms, and I have 5 plus 2c less than or equal to 40 plus 4c. I move variables to one side, so I'm moving the c's to the right, and then I'm moving this constant 40 to the left. Now I divide both sides by 2, and I have negative 35 halves less than or equal to c, and you can leave it as an improper fraction if you like. For number 7, I start by distributing this negative. Combine like terms, negative 1 and negative 3 is negative 4. I have one variable on the left, I'm going to leave it there, so I'm going to take the number on the left and move it to the right by adding it. Now I'm going to divide by negative 3, and because I'm dividing by a number that's negative, I'm going to flip the sign. So a is less than negative 3. And over here, I didn't have to flip the sign even though the 35 was negative, because what I was dividing by was not negative, it was a positive. Over here, the number I divided by was negative, so I had to flip it. And if you ever move your variables to different sides than I do, remember that a less than negative 3 is the same as this. See how the inequality symbol is opening to the negative 3 here and opening to the negative 3 here? Those are equivalent. Over here, the equivalent inequality would look like this. The inequality symbol opening up to the c and pointing to the negative 35. Over here, it's opening to the c and pointing to the negative 35. For these last 3 problems, I'm going to help you set up the equation and then ask you to pause your video to solve. On 8, we're being told that the area of this rectangle is 10. Remember, area is length times width. So that means 10 equals 3 minus x times 5. And then solve from there. Number 9, we're told that this is an equilateral triangle, which means this side equals this side. So I just set up an equation setting them equal. And then on this last one, we have that the perimeter is equal to 24. That means you add up all the sides. So you can just add these all up. You can also write 2 times each side added together equals the perimeter of 24. So pause your video, work those, and then come back and I'll show you the work. Okay, take a moment and check your answers. The biggest thing I want to say is on number 10, right here we found that x equals 3, but that's not your final answer. You have to plug it in for these x's here to figure out your final length and width answer.